This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope you all are doing well. Yes, I got an early start this evening, which is what I've been trying to do for quite some time. But anyway, I am once again simulcasting on Bumble and Utizzle, going out to the masses, and things are about to crack, I believe. And we're getting to what a lot of people might call the precipice and D-class. A lot of people are going to be finding out a lot of stuff, and they're stepping on their own toes. It's called the Epstein boomerang. So while we get people coming into the chats, I'll play a few videos, and I hope you'll enjoy them. And if you're not subscribed, why don't you go ahead and do that, and give me a thumbs up when you come in. It helps the videos get around. Ha ha ha.
When you use intel agencies and law enforcement to illegally go after your political opponents for non-crimes, that is the definition of a conspiracy against rights, a very serious federal civil rights felony under 18 U.S.C. Section 241. And so I would say to all of those people you just named and many, many others, lawyer up, because there's a new sheriff in town at the Justice Department in the name of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and many others, and I am going to push very hard, very publicly, for them to open a federal criminal probe under 18 U.S.C.
How is it not already open?
Maybe it is.
Criminals off the street, and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow, and I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought.
Democrat open borders plan trench single-party rule explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
Storm zone. Yes, sir. I'm wondering what storm you're talking about.
They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
I think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhaul DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. Care of it.
Hi, folks. Well, we got to help. We got to help the boss man take care of it. And I've played these videos to get everybody focused on what we're going through, what we've been through, and what is yet to come. And as we know, it had to be this way. It had to be this way. So we're going to go over some posts from our favorite letter. Hi, Kickin' Bird. Hi, Todd. Hi, Sherry. Rain, how you doing? Wanda. Nice to see you. Damon, Sissy, Araceli, a Google account. Yeah, they robbed us. They sure did. Hi, Marie, Sparky, nice to see you. So anyway, yeah, with that Supreme Court ruling, at least the government is allowed to plan to fire people. This judge actually had more nerve than a bum tooth and said, you know, you can't even plan. Even though the executive order said, draw up a plan within the parameters of existing law on how we can reduce agency size and get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. No. The judge said you can't even plan on it. And every Supreme Court justice said, that's ridiculous. Except for one. In her withered little brain, her little DEI brain about the size of a walnut, she felt that judges all across the country could tell the administration what they can think about. Don't even think about it. So anyway, she made an idiot of herself, and we got to get her out of there. That's coming. That's coming down the road. I think a vote of no confidence or some type of construct, maybe where Trump can just go ahead and nominate someone for the position and state that they don't have any confidence in her, and a concurrence by the Supreme Court, maybe that'll work things out. I don't know. Something's got to give. We can't go on like this. But anyway, so here we are. I played you the video where this creep right here, king of the creeps, maybe he's being forced into the role. Maybe he, because he was on the inside during the presidential daily briefings. He wrote in his own handwriting that it was pretty much a psyop, that they knew the dossier was false. His handwritten notes during the meeting that the President Obama was at, that it was all phony baloney. And that's in the record. But the people haven't been woken up yet, so we're going to go through this operation, I believe, to wake them up. Now, this Epstein thing, one little thing that I noticed, and we've seen this before, Rasmussen reports, shock, Epstein hurting Trump's polls, jeopardizes political capital. Now, if I saw that on some other polling site, or if I heard Frank Luntz talking about it, I wouldn't give it 2 cents. But it's Rasmussen. How many times have you heard Trump say Rasmussen is a reputable pollster? But that can be regained. That can be regained depending how things play out. It's moves and counter moves, and we shall see. Who would it hurt the most for this to come out? The facts about the Epstein situation wouldn't hurt Donald Trump. That's why I put in my thumbnail. Who framed Trump? Did Epstein plea deal? Who? Who did Epstein's plea deal and who framed Trump? Wait a second. When Epstein got arrested the first time, Barack Hussein Obama was president of the United States. Eric Holder was the attorney general. Right? Comey was in. Clapper was in. Brennan was in. All of them that are getting tangled up in this conspiracy to unseat President Trump. Conspiracy. They're starting off with perjury. But it's going to go from there. It's going to grow from there. But Trump's core policy decisions, the deportations, the actions by ICE have still very, very strong support. Even this goofy generational hoax known as climate change. And when you see these numbers, the ones who say that they're very concerned about climate change, you can write down on a piece of paper everything else they got a problem with. And it'll line right up with all those people screaming and yelling in the streets with dish rags on their head and wanting open borders, transgender for everybody, right? As Trump says, they're the same bunch cut from the same cloth. But anyway, we're making progress in letting people know that's just another psyop to get people to surrender their rights to natural resources and to live in comfort according to science. But anyway, here's Harry Anton.
Are Americans afraid of climate change? And the answer is Americans aren't afraid of climate change. Climate activists have not successfully made the case to the American people. I want you to take a look here. Greatly worried about climate change. We have data going all the way back since 1989. Look at that. It was 35%. 2000, 40%. 2020, 46%. And 2025, 40%, which is the exact same percentage as back in 2000. Despite all of these horrible weather events, the percentage of Americans who are greatly worried about climate change has stayed pretty gosh darn consistent, which kind of boggles the mind a little bit. Granted, everything that we see on our television screens, our computer screens, the hurricanes, tornadoes, the flooding, but yet greatly worried about climate change, 40% in 2025, the exact same percentage as back in 2000.
Yeah, they all believe in the things, anyone who falls for the climate change hoax, to the degree that they're kept up at night, they're also freaking out about things that most Americans don't give a damn about. Hi, Bruce, how you doing? Sparky's here, Robin's here. Wanda, when he was arrested under Mr. T at the airport, he had a DOJ oh, you talking about Comey? Yeah. Benjamin, how you doing? Nice to see you. See who I'm missing. I guess I got it right. I hope I did. If I missed anybody, I apologize. So anyway, I've got a lot of posts I want to put up, but I want to talk about what's going on in this big old world. Marco Rubio is planning on doing mass layoffs. Where is he doing mass layoffs? The State Department. Isn't that funny? Last night I was talking about somebody who was a big PIA back in the day, retired from the State Department. Him and his wife worked, and I said, what did they do? What did they contribute? How can they get $500,000 a year in retirement and all these benefits? And, you know, every day playing 9 holes and drinking 5 or 6 mixed drinks, you know, before you get home for dinner to finish the rest of the bottle. What do these people do? And they try to influence your local politics. I said there were nothing but political operatives and foot soldiers getting paid top buck. Well, today, Rubio said he was going to give them the boot. Thousands of them, dead weight, political operatives, as I said. How much money we're going to save, God only knows. We shall see. But Rubio right now, or earlier today, made it all the way to Malaysia. Did you know that? Did you know Marco Rubio went to Malaysia? Photos have emerged from the meeting between U.S. Secretary of State Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, who are currently meeting in Malaysia. Where's our press? How come they're not reporting on that? Are they afraid that peace might break out all around the world? You know, Bibi Netanyahu nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. I think I got a video of that. Yeah. No, they want to focus on the Epstein files and alligator Alcatraz. Here's MSNBC. See the picture they choose of the President of the United States? When Trump's standing outside talking to them like Biden never did, with a helicopter engine going or plane engines or something going on, and he's talking loudly to the press, trying to communicate to the American people. That's the picture they use. Alligator Alcatraz, worms and food, extreme temperatures, not enough showers. Oh, is that going to get discredited? Of course. Just like Gilmar Abrego Garcia saying he was tortured and starved, and it turned out he gave 31 pounds. And video of him learning a trade. You know, we're going to see how that turns out. I tell you what, if they're trying to get a lawsuit for him and it's going to fail miserably, I think he should have a suit against these attorneys. You know, he was back in his home country. We don't know how long he was going to be in that prison. He wasn't at what's the name of the tough prison? CCOT. He wasn't there. He was there. He got checked in there, and then they evaluated him and said, well, we'll send him to this facility where they had job programs and dorm rooms with TVs and stuff like that. You think that Bukele and et al., all the government people there are going to keep somebody in jail that has potential and can learn a trade, is still young? Maybe they keep him 5 years for whatever he did in their country or whatever, get him to disavow the gangs. He had a life. I guarantee you he had a road to getting out of prison. These attorneys in America and the conniver, Judge Zenas, are using him as a pawn, and he could spend 20 years in jail for human trafficking. which would have never been an issue if they hadn't kept on. Maybe he's got a lawsuit against them. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Well, you know, speaking of Russia, something happened. There was a colonel in Ukraine that got assassinated. And he was responsible for carrying out sabotage and other special operations in the territory of the Russian Federation. Where did this happen? It happened in Kiev, the Ukrainian capital. Is that an example of the long reach of the Russian Federation? Are they tying up loose ends before things are settled over there in Ukraine? This colonel, let me see. I think I have a video. It's kind of hard to see because it is a street cam. Let me see if I can find that. And he's walking out to his car, and somebody puts the Ajax on him. Well, I might have. Oh, here it is. Here's a. Yeah, here it is. Right here. He's responsible for sabotage in the Russian Federation. So it's kind of hard to see, but he walks up behind that car near that guard booth or telephone booth or whatever it is. I'll go ahead and play it. There's a perpetrator running away. It was 5 times. 5 times. And you can come back and replay it or slow it down or whatever. And you'll see him on one side of the car when he starts firing and then ends up behind the car. And I have a photo of, I guess this is okay because it's far enough away you can't really see, of him expired. Let's see. I'll put that up in a second. Let me see what the rest of this post is. There's information. All right, the SBU, which is the Ukrainian Secret Service, confirmed that the person who lost their life in Kiev this morning was their employee. Well, he's a little more than an employee. He's a colonel. He's a colonel. And little things like this are markers. Was he involved in, you all have heard me mention it, that people have been with me for a while, Maidan massacre? Oh, I just lost that picture. I had it. But it might be a little too gruesome to put on. But anyway, he's just laying there in the parking lot. Funny that this happened the day before Rubio goes to meet with Lavrov, Russian foreign minister, in Malaysia, and nobody's reporting on it. But there's a lot of things we don't know about, we haven't heard about. When I come across that picture, I'll put it up. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Oh, come on back. That's what we say when we're guiding somebody's vehicle. Backing up a vehicle. Come on back. Come on back. There he is. He's, that's the emergency services. They decided they couldn't do anything. And he's expired. There may be more operations like that A lot of scores to settle. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying anything about it. But it happened in the heart of Kiev in Ukraine. Hi, Pappy Two Bears. How you doing? Wayne, nice to see you. Darla. Whiskey. Miss Mendersu. Flannel Cheese. Bush gave you a bunch of smiles and stuff. Yeah. Sparky. Let's see. Nice to see you all. Let me see what we're... I've got some posts for Mr. T. What did I say about Brazil? What did I say was going to happen if they didn't treat Bolsonaro's right? Boom. Making them pay. Trump slaps a 50% tariff on Brazil as punishment for witch hunt trial against ex-president. The day after. Well, actually, he told him 2 days beforehand. You better lay off him. Hi, Rebecca. And I said, well, if they don't, he's got tariffs and he's going to use them. Sure enough, he used them. Oh, Babylon B put this up. Former White House doctor denies ever knowing a Joe Biden. We've got this bubbling. We've got the mainstream media is pushing the Epstein files to the front, bubbling. You've got Comey and Brennan, who are knee deep in the Epstein situation, along with a lot of other crimes. That's bubbling. What's going on, Doc? How did you not know that Biden had brain rot? How did you keep giving him clearance and saying he was just fine? But, you know, how many people in that 40% that is still freaking out about climate change, what is it going to take to get them to come down off their... What's the real number of people that just can't be rescued? It can't be 40%. We still got work to do. But then you got people like this. Citizen Free Press put this up. Said this is a EMT worker, emergency technician who's going to be looking for a job.
I just thought of a way to combine my MAGA hating and my work in the ER. MAGA supporters are like people who hold on to fireworks too long. You love it until it hurts you. Kind of like, you know, how you love it until in the ER, folks, when your fingers get blown off. Oh, have a good day.
Well, what was that all about? Wanting MAGA to get their fingers blown off? She can't wait. I mean, we're talking a pretty serious illness. But as long as they got control of the media, we're going to have to keep dealing with that. Bush says 38%. I believe it's a lot less. I think, I don't think it'll break 25%. These are lunatics. How many lunatics are there in the country that when they see what's really going on, still have hard hearts? I think it's less than 25%. You know, I was talking about this last night. MSNBC's putting this out too. I'm putting this up to show you all the way they operate. With the one I just put up about alligator Alcatraz having worms in the food, just repeating BS. Full NAZI. Elon Musk's AI chatbot started calling itself Mecha Hitler. You know what? I saw a post that started the Mecha Hitler. It was a person who put up a question to Grok and said, would you rather be called, I don't know, Joe Blow or Freddie Fudd Pucker, I don't know who they use, or Mecha Hitler? It gave Grok two choices. And Grok answered the latter. As I said, people can manipulate AI. It is non-sentient. It's programmable. Garbage in, garbage out. And it chose Mecha Hitler. I think Mecha Hitler would be better because of blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, they say, oh, Grok is calling itself Mecha Hitler. Started calling. No, it didn't. It was given two choices. See how they can manipulate it? And then they carry the manipulation on. It's a digital form of the wrap-up smear. I'll play that tape up by Nancy Pelosi sometime. Here's some more subliminal BS they pull. You see, federal judge blocks EO on birthright citizenship. A federal judge. But what do they put a picture of? The Supreme Court. So somebody that's scrolling has a subliminal thought that the supreme law of the land smacked down Trump's EO on birthright citizenship, even though it was one local district judge from a liberal territory, cherry-picked, judge-shopped, and they even put a stay on their own order. It's either a week or two to give the administration time to appeal. The judge stayed their own order. But the subliminal messaging from ABC News with a picture of the Supreme Court is that Trump's birthright citizenship was shut down. See what I'm saying, folks? Every way they can manipulate the news. I was talking about KTLA, just something I noticed. A local LA station. I said they're going to get shut down. They're awful, and they are. They did a live stream today with no comments. Comments turned off. Because there was an ICE raid on a, quote, farm. And they said, oh, these workers, our crops are going to rot in the ground, and they contribute to our economy by paying taxes. They haven't broken any laws and all the blah, 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 blah. Here's a screen grab I got from the ICE agents out there on this farm, right? And, an hour went by. You couldn't put anything in the chats. You just had to listen to this propaganda, how these innocent people were getting snatched up. But you know what it turned out to be? Hi, Andrew. How you doing? It turned out to be a cannabis farm. They're growing pot. Now that's legal in state of California. But it's not legal federally. 1. 2, this particular farm was having it out with another producer of cannabis who was complaining that this farm was exceeding its maximums under the law and was working with cartels. Back in 2024, they were battling this out. So KTLA put it out there like, these poor people are just picking crops for us to eat. It's going to rot in the ground. And Trump's a meanie, right? I got to take him off there. Creep. Remember him. We're going to see what happens with him and Comey, because they're both on the hot seat. But anyway, that's why I put Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Right? Don't rely on your understanding of things. Trust in the Lord. And certainly don't rely on things like KTLA. Here's a video I had yesterday. This is KTLA. Listen to, now I don't know if they still have the comments up, but somebody put in there, KTLA should be shut down. A lot of other people put up, illegal is illegal. And quit making excuses for these people. And this is what I voted for. I mean, they were totally against it. But listen to the way they present this situation. ICE agents are kidnapping, according to the people they're interviewing. They're masked, anonymous people whisking away innocent non-criminals. It is the most slanted reporting. Judge for yourself.
Outrage and anger tonight in South Los Angeles after a mother of 3 is taken at gunpoint by 2 men in unmarked cars.
Family members and some people in the community are demanding answers. Yuriana Calderon has lived in LA for 20 years. They want to know where she's being held now and who is holding her. Carlos Salcedo live in the KTLA News Center with more on what we know about the case tonight. Carlos?
Good evening. Well, imagine being taken by masked men appearing as federal officers. Then you're transported to the border, pressured to sign self-deportation paperwork. Well, that's what happened to a South LA mom last week. She refused to sign, and tonight family members say they don't know where she's being held.
Free Julie now! Immigration rights activists and family of Julie Calderon rallied in South LA Monday after they say the mom of 3 was abducted by masked men in unmarked vehicles. Calderon told family members that she was going to her janitorial job last Wednesday night when she was followed by 2 vehicles along Alameda. Feeling unsafe, she pulled into this parking lot.
She stepped into the parking lot. Folks got off of those trucks armed with masks, and they took her.
She was placed in custody for not being a U.S. citizen, but instead of taking her to a detention center in L.A., she was driven to San Isidro.
She was taken straight from here to the border and pressured to sign self-deportation paperwork.
That's exactly right. At the beginning of the report, they were saying they were trying to get her to force her to sign immigration papers. No. All this BS about mass people whisking people away. They don't have any idea what's going on. Oh, she could be in some kind of danger. Is that what they're saying? Oh, and they're trying to force her to sign papers. Everybody's been knowing what the deal is. If you could self-deport, fine. If you don't, Trump said what would happen. You get picked up and you get shipped out of the country. But this news agency and all their proxies that are playing along are making it seem like a heart-wrenching, cruel thing that's happening.
And when she refused and asked to speak with a lawyer, Calderon was transported with others to a warehouse close to where she was initially taken from. She was allowed to make only 2 phone calls before going silent.
According to Julie, one of the bounty hunters allowed her access to a phone. We don't know if that was his personal phone. We don't know if that was a phone that belonged to the facility. It showed no caller ID.
Calderon has been in LA for more than 20 years, raised 3 children, 2 with special needs, while volunteering with immigrant rights groups. As of now, her whereabouts are unknown.
So what has happened is that we have a lot of people for whom we don't have a location. So everything about what's happening right now is absolutely different than what we've ever experienced in the past.
Is she in ICE custody? Is she in CBP custody? Or is she being held somewhere else?
Now, Calderon has several underlying health issues and needs her medication, so her family, of course, is desperate to find her. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security regarding this case, but have not heard back. Reporting live in the KTLA News Center, Carlos Salcedo, KTLA 5 News.
All right, Carlos, thank you.
Well, they got doctors, whatever country she's from. They got doctors. Don't worry about it. But this is like, I was talking about the couple that work for the State Department, how much they cost us and how little they produce. How much you think this woman and her extended family, her special needs children, how much is that going to cost us? And they don't even belong in this country. She's been here 20 years. You think she can speak English? No, immigration is designed for people who want to be Americans, not people who want to remain as their identity when they came here and get the gravy, as Trump said, the gravy. KNS Cleanup, how you doing? Cola, nice to see you. Haha. I thought I saw Gary earlier. What was I seeing things? Ah, there he is. Hi, Gary. Haha. Yeah, my screen flickers sometimes. Nice to see you, Gary. Who'd I miss? Nobody? All right. If I did, I'm sorry. I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Make sure you like the video. Helps to get around. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and subscribe. But anyway, Trump was on a tangent on his Truth Social. But I'll tell you something he put up. Now, you guys have been with me for a long time. How many times have you heard me say it? Trump put this up late last night. Happy birthday to Senator Graham. He's always there when I need him. How many times have you all heard me say that? He's always there when I need him. And I hope everyone in the great state of South Carolina will help Lindsey have a big win in his re-election bid next year. Make America great again. So, hey, if he's all right with Trump, he's all right with me. Who knows what he's been assigned, what he's up to, why he's up to, what he's up to. What's this one? From Mr. T. Too late. You know who that is? Jerome Powell. I need to put up where Trump posted how much those tariffs, those extra points we're paying to the Federal Reserve is costing this nation. We're talking trillions of dollars. Too late demeans the great credit of the USA. We are now, again, the #1 credit in the world. Gigantic comeback. The Fed rate should be reflective of this. We should be at the top of the list. Lower the rate. Everybody knows if you've got better credit, you get better rates, right? But no, we're at the top. We're paying the top buck. To offset the tariffs, all the money we're raking on tariffs, they're trying to claw it back through the Federal Reserve and the central bank. Tech stocks, industrial stocks, and NASDAQ hit all-time record highs. Crypto through the roof. Nvidia is up 47% since Trump's tariffs. USA is taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. Country is now back. A great credit. Fed should rapidly lower rate to reflect this strength. USA should be at the top of the list. No inflation. What else did he put up? Aha. I had a short video about NPR. It is very important that all Republicans adhere to my rescissions bill, and in particular, defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, PBS and NPR, which is worse than CNN and MSDNC put together. Any Republican that votes to allow this monstrosity to continue broadcasting will not have my support or endorsement. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And we all know when Trump ends a letter that way, you best be paying attention to what he's saying. I had a video where one member of the House was giving his 2 cents on what NPR was worth, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Anyway, I want to go through what Trump's putting, what he's trying to communicate to the American people. We know it's important, right? What's this one? I'm announcing a 50% tariff on copper. Just last night I said silver is the poor man's gold and copper is the poor man's silver. Effective August 1st, after receiving a robust national security assessment, copper is necessary for semiconductors, aircraft, ships, ammunition, data centers, lithium-ion batteries, radar systems, missile defense systems, and even hypersonic weapons, of which we are building many. Oh, that's a little signal to certain people, right? Copper is the second most used material by the Department of Defense. Wow. Did our foolish and sleepy leaders decimate this important industry? Yes. The 50% tariff will reverse the Biden administration's thoughtless behavior and stupidity. America will once again build a dominant copper industry. This is, after all, our golden age. Yes, indeed. Let me see what's going on in the comments. Hi, Debbie. Well, Sparky, if you can buy an ounce, what is it now? If you buy a quarter ounce, you can buy an ounce of silver a hell of a lot quicker than you can buy an ounce of gold. It's still over 3,000. I haven't looked it up. I don't know where it's at. It's way up there. Way up there. Now, this was the post. This was the post that got James Comey on my thumbnail. I want to ask him a question. 2 questions. Who framed Trump and who gave Jeffrey Epstein the plea deal? The great Greg Jarrett. It's clear Trump was framed. The collusion narrative was a conspiracy itself. Conspiracy. The collaborators knew it was a lie, but they manipulated the dossier and the CIA to peddle their fairy tale. Brennan and Comey manipulated the system and the document itself. They abused their power. Comey launched a case against Trump in violation of FBI regulations. He deceived the FISA court with the dossier to gain a spy warrant. John Brennan used that dossier knowing it was garbage. He insisted it be put up in the Intelligence Committee assessment. He knew. Where am I at? Such a phony document. And that if it could be put in the Intelligence Committee assessment, it will elevate the credibility and that he could drive Trump from office. He told Congress that it wasn't in the assessment. Well, it was. Can he be charged? Yes, he can. They eroded confidence and trust in the American government, particularly the FBI, CIA, and other agencies single-handedly. Let's see. They set back America considerably. James Comey needs daily therapy. He's so obsessed with his hatred for Trump. It's what drove the Russia hoax. He, more than anybody else, drove the witch hunt, and he can never get over the fact that he failed and got fired, and he hates that as well. On his way out the door, he purloined FBI documents. This will trigger the special counsel and drive Trump from office. Bob Mueller was appointed, his longtime mentor and friend. But in the end, his scheme failed. Wow. Thank you, Greg. Amazing reporting. Yeah. So it's going to come around. It's going to come out. And it's going to be quite a show. Quite a show. You know, I was playing around on the CUE board. I'm going to get into that. But let me finish up what Trump was. Violent rhetoric against ICE agents. Oh, really? Here we go. Trump posted this today, so he wants it to get around, so I will play it. Let me see. Where's my mic? I'll cut it off. Where you at, Mike?
Let's be clear here. We have Karen Bass, and it's the constituents, but it's also the elected officials in the states that are spurring on this kind of violent rhetoric against ICE agents. And so, yes, there should be deportations because CNN also released a poll that said, oh, there's only 10% of those being deported are criminals, where the Department of Homeland Security had to come out and correct that poll and say, actually, outside of having broken the law when you enter the country, 75% of those being deported have committed crimes in addition to breaking the law entering the country. These are violent crimes, and these people have pending charges. So at this point, to protect American citizens, President Trump is doing exactly what he said he would do, and he's delivering on what he was elected for, which is to keep our country safe and deport the criminal illegal aliens.
CNN flat out lied about the percentage of people who had committed crimes that were being deported. And that is stoking a lot of the stuff we're seeing in the streets with violence. But here's Jasmine Crockett. She'll tell you who's responsible for the violence. Yeah, now listen, Jasmine, she knows what she's talking about.
The violence doesn't come from Democrats, just to be clear. I mean, obviously anyone can be a criminal, but it is MAGA. It's specifically MAGA faction. Like, I don't think traditional Republicans are getting engaged in all of this, but like, even when we look at, and they don't talk about the assassination attempts anymore that took place with Donald Trump, but these were Trump supporters, right? As well as this most recent situation, they tried to flip it and say, oh, the leftists are, I'm like, this doesn't even make sense, right? But it's only like MAGA that does this.
Oh, MAGA is the reason for the attempt on Trump. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Here's a poll. Let me find that. A poll about Democrats. How many of them support, where is it? Jasmine Crockett, and what their, I guess their front runners are? What kind of future this party has? Let me see if I can find it. Holy cow. Huh. Well, she's at like 38%, some crazy number like that. Huh. Well, I don't know if I have it. Anyway, they got the likes of her and Zoran in New York. And I can't believe they would get in the national election over 40%. But here gives you an idea of the rift in the party. This guy's being asked if there's room, if Mamdi and he, if there's enough room in the Democrat Party for this character and Zoran. He doesn't use the C word, communist. He's too chicken, but he does use the socialist word.
The current DNC chair, Ken Martin, fellow Minnesotan, used you as an example in saying the party is a big tent. It can welcome people from different ideological, geographic perspectives. I think he used the example of you couldn't win a race in Ilhan Omar's district and she couldn't win a race in yours. Is there room for you and Mamdani in the Democratic Party?
You know, I think it's a fine question. I think it's one that many Republicans have been asking about, whether there's room for traditional conservatives in a party now led by MAGA Republicans like Donald Trump. The answer ultimately, I think, is no. You know, we do share many of the same values. In fact, most Americans share a lot of the same values. But as a political party, yes, you want diversity. You want some differences of opinion, perspective, life story, politics, and experience. But when you have socialists, in the Democratic Party, I don't know how anybody could argue that that would be beneficial for the party or for the country. Therein lies the great challenge. Same thing on the right, Omar. Is MAGA the future of the Republican Party? If it is, there is going to be a new, grand, successful third party in America, because the overwhelming majority of Americans want neither far left or far right politics. They want decency, they want common sense, competency, and cooperation. And no party right now is elevating candidates who represent those ideals.
Oh, so we're far right, and it's going to create another party. Yeah, good luck. The bottom line is, his answer was no. There's no room for a socialist. They know that kind of rhetoric is poison to the Democrat Party. But here's that interactive polls. Texas Senate Democrat primary. Jasmine Crockett at 35%. Colin Allred, 20%. Dopey Beto O'Rourke, 13%. Joaquin Castro, 13%. Undecided, damn near 20%. They haven't got squat to choose from. That's what happens when you're a fractured party full of misfits, malcontents, and miscreants. That's what they got to work with. Misfits, malcontents, and miscreants. Here's another post by Mr. T. What does this say? A day late and $1 short. Oh, this is where the Democrats, I guess, they're trying to clean themselves up and act like they're the party that's going to make things better economically, or what? Basically try to quietly steal Trump's agenda.
Well, you have Ruben Gallego out of Arizona, and then Gonzalez out of Texas. And now just recently, John Kerry saying the Democrats have got it wrong, but this is a day late and $1 short. President Trump right now is having to fix a crisis that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris borders are created, these deportations would not be happening, and ICE would not have to be in sanctuary cities had Kamala Harris done her job on the border. So the Democrats now are correcting because President Trump won a landslide election and dominated, especially among Latin voters, Hispanic voters. He was in near parity to Kamala Harris. So at this point, the Democrats are re-strategizing because they've lost, and they're going to continue to lose on this issue that President Trump.
They're re-strategizing. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Anyway, I'm almost at an hour. Here's a guy that did an interview with Kamala Harris. And it was so bad they didn't even air it. And they're just now coming out about it. Now you know why CBS had to pay for distorting that interview, altering that interview. But anyway, this guy was like, yeah, I could tell my daughter I got a chance to meet Kamala Harris, and I did the interview.
They emailed me.
They emailed, like an email from the
DNC.
Okay.
And they said, hey, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are really interested in being on your show. I said, that sounds cool.
Okay.
I'll at least get to tell my daughter that I met the potential president of the United States.
Yeah.
And so I said yes, based on the fact that it would be a good story. And also they both had good takes.
What happened with Kamala?
Her take was really confusing and weird and not good. And so mutually agreed that we shouldn't publish it.
I see.
And I got lucky because I didn't want to be blamed for her losing.
Her take was that bad?
It was really, really bad, and it was like didn't make any sense. I can tell you, it was bacon as a spice. Bacon as a spice.
Bacon as a spice.
He didn't want to get blamed for her losing. Now that's a bad interview. That's a bad interview. Anyway, let's see. I got a couple. Let me see what this one is. I don't even know what this one. I hate these black screen ones. Let me see what this one is. Let's see. Oh, this is a guy talking about Elon Musk. I started playing. If I would save this for another video, but anyway, this is Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank talking about Steve Jobs and comparing him to Elon Musk.
Worked for Steve Jobs in the early 90s, making all of his educational software. And by the way, not a nice guy. Not a nice guy. He would say to a room full of people, Kevin, I don't give a shit what the students want or the parents think or anybody thinks. It's what I want. They don't know what they want till I tell them what they want. And I said, Steve, you sound like such an asshole. You have no idea what that sounds like. He says, no, that's how it is, Kevin. Now, are you making money with me? Am I your fastest growing OEM? Have we not been wildly successful and continue to be? I said, yes, Steve, that's true. He said, then fucking shut up and do what I say. There's a concept that he understood that very few people focused on back then in the early 90s of signal to noise ratio. What was so brilliant about Jobs, his vision of signal was the top 3 to 5 things you have to get done in the next 18 hours. Not your vision for the business next week or next month or next year, just the next 18 hours you're awake. You're going to get those 3 things or those 5 things done that you have deemed critical for your mission. They must get done today. Anything that stops you from doing that is the noise. So this signal to noise ratio to be successful for Steve Jobs was 80-20. 80 signal, 20 noise. And I knew that to be true with him because he would email me at 2:30 in the morning, expect me to get back to him, because back then we didn't have texts, it was all email. He was right. He was right. And the only other person that I've seen that has a higher ratio than that is Elon Musk. He has no noise. He does not deal with noise. He is 100% signal, 24 seconds, every cycle. I mean, the guy is just 60 seconds of every minute, 60 minutes of every hour. The 18 hours he's awake, it's all signal.
Well, whatever that means, I wouldn't want to live that way. I wouldn't want to live that way. Let's see what this other black screen video is. If I had more time in a day, I could take notes. Oh, yeah, now we're going to get into the Epsteinio thing. Now we're going to get into the Epsteinio situation. And why I think it's going to backfire. Boomerang on them. And I'm going to go over some CUE posts. And I think you'll find that interesting. Don't put that in the chats. Be careful with what you say, because we're still getting censorized, right? But anyway, there's multiple videos people came out discussing Epsteinio. And let's see what Bill O'Reilly had to say.
President Trump man-to-man, eye-to-eye on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed, because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they.
So what he's saying is that people are going to use this to take innocent people and drag them through the mud. Epstein's gone. All you're going to have is finger pointing. That plays into what Alan Dershowitz has to say. And you'll hear him say that he can't speak about things because who? A judge told him not to. He's been enjoined confidentiality.
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely, and the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money. And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and withheld.
Well, one thing Alan Dershowitz, there's a couple things Alan Dershowitz got to think about. One, not everybody has a free lawyer, Alan. You have your own free lawyer, and that is you. For people to get drugged through the mud and have to deal with the ramifications, plus also get representation and pay for it, it could destroy people's lives. That's one thing. The other thing is that maybe you don't know the reason the judge is not allowing you to discuss things or mention names. Could it be that there is, with the doctrine of state secrets, that there may be a shadow docket concerning the Epstein affair and the associated people, given that it is an international geopolitical minefield, that the judge may have been instructed to enjoin you and everybody else to be quiet for national security or to not interfere with an ongoing investigation. Did you think about that, Alan? And when we go through some of these posts, maybe that will enter people's minds as being a possibility that you can't release that information because there's something very serious going on. But anyway, here's Victor David Hansen talking about his thoughts on the matter.
What do you think this is really about?
I think it's pretty clear now that Epstein had no talent other than blackmail, and he was not a financier. He was not a captain of finance at all. What he did is he invited very powerful people to his island or his New York home, filmed them, and then he bribed them, and he shook them down and said, I'm going to be your quote-unquote financial advisor, and in exchange for that, I'm not going to release all that stuff. And whether, there were some pretty big people. So why isn't it being exposed? Because I think I think there are people in the establishment, I don't know if they partook in his sick things he was doing, but they feel they have some association with him, and they have they gave him money to invest when there was no reason to hire someone like that. There were much better financial gurus, but he got $500 million somehow from people who were mainstream establishmentarians on the basis that he was going to blackmail him. I think that's how he made his money, and I think those names are numerous. And I think the Trump administration thought, well, we're going to release this, and there's some crazy people that we don't care about are going to be embarrassed. And then all of a sudden, they got a lot of calls and said, why are you doing this? I didn't do this. I went down to the island once. I was on a plane. I didn't touch anybody. And they're saying, and now you're going to release my name and I'll be guilt by, I'm not going to. And I think that's what's happening. There's a lot of people who were very powerful that were giving him money or were trafficking with him. Not necessarily all of them engaging in what he was doing, but just the association with him. And I think they're putting pressure on people.
Well, when you think about it, E. Jean Carroll was able to take a picture of her and her husband in a celebrity lineup with Donald Trump and use that in a so-called court to get a millions and millions of dollar judgment against Donald Trump. And we all know it's BS. So here you have somebody like Epstein going out of his way to rub elbows with every person of any fame or worth. But I think, especially with Elon participating in putting out tweets that Bannon was on the list or whatever, stoking the flames, I think they're trying to get the media to keep demanding it and things to come out. But what is a simple way to find out? I took one word and I put it in the CUE app that I told you all about. Island. I put the word island in, and it came up 7 times. 7 times. And I put in another word just because I was cogitating on past things of interest. I put in the word owl. Owl. because I've always been trying to solidify it in my mind what owl and why, the letter Y, because we were asked several times about, by the 17th letter, what is owl and why? Owl / Y. Okay, so I started off with island. You know, and you get in this rabbit hole and you're in there. So anyway, I got it. I said, well, what'll I get? And if you are a reporter, why wouldn't you check out that word on the 17th letter? Because this is who introduced the world to the name Jeffrey Epstein. See, I used the word island. See it highlighted in red? ABC News told us it was just a gym inside the temple. Remember the brief times they reported on it? And they downplayed the fact that it looked like a temple, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Well, they said it was just a gym inside the temple. And the 17th letter put this picture up. A gym, you say? This was after everything was filled in. ABC News. Who are they affiliated with? Disney. This is one of the 7 posts that have the word island in it. Magical Kingdoms. Disney Cruise Line. Afterward, make your way to second snorkel stop, Little St. James Island. That is the actual island, known as Epstein Island, right? ABC News said it was just a gym. ABC News is owned by Disney. Disney, now, can't you see why a reporter would be interested in this stuff? Where curious fish dart back and forth in the clear blue water, and colorful coral formations nestle next to amazing underwater formations. Oh. What else was with this particular post you see on the screen? Whoops. What else was on the bottom of that post? Let me find it. Pictures of accessories. Here we go. See, it says Little St. James Island. I had to break it up in 2 because it was too long for a screenshot, so I had to do 2 screenshots. This is right off the water. You see what is cut off at the bottom? Dophile Island, Little St. James, a drone picture from 2019 shows a storage building. Now, many of you have seen the doors open on this storage building. It had another door in the very back that you opened up, and there was a tunnel. And here's the other one. Another storage right on the edge of the water where kids could come up and play and disappear into the storage unit. Mind you, there were only 7 posts that had island out of 4,900 and I don't know how many. I'll show you that in a minute. What else was under island? The famous picture. The famous picture and the famous post by Ray Chandler. Hi, Stanton. How you doing? By Ray Chandler, better known as Rachel. This was March 20th of 2019, 6 years ago. Come on. Reporters, what? How hard is it to go to a website and enter the word island? Rachel Chandler had the possible Epstein Island security cam pic on her Instagram. What else? Oh, here's another one with the word island. Isolated picture. Kids sitting on buckets. A woman walking down a hallway. July 2020. Security cameras of what was going on underneath. And he said it in front of big name reporters. How come Epstein spent millions of dollars filling in underneath the building? How did he get the permits? Nobody gave him permits. Nobody stopped him. What's this? It's under the name island, the keyword island. Everybody's face is blurred out except for one. Oh, on one of those posts I showed with the security camera pictures, it said 2013. Date is important. Anyway, who's that doesn't have their face blurred out? Could that be Ray Chandler? Child handler? Not hard to look up. All you got to put in is one word. Then I put in owl because I wanted to refresh my mind. I remember looking that up in the past. Oh, here's another one. Here we go. This is the one I was telling you about. This is July 2019. There's the security cam. They let phones in there. There's the Instagram posts. Okay? You can look it up. All you got to do is put in one word. One word. 16 channels. 4x4. 16 different rooms or areas showing staircases going down. Rooms. All filled in by concrete that Trump asked about. It says, note, 2013 on the bottom. Date, important. Okay, I'll remember that. Maybe it'll come up in evidence in trial or something. What do you think? Keep in mind what I said. Is there, according to, in line with the doctrine of state secrets, is there a court order where information about this situation cannot be divulged right now? Is there a gag order on a shadow docket? Here is 4,966. That is how many posts there are. And only 7 of them had the word island in there. Very easy for journalists to look up. But this is the last post they ever. When I put in owl, the word knowledge came up because you see in the middle it says OWL, knowledge. So I got every post that had the word knowledge and another word I can't remember right off the top of my head. But I think there were 79 posts that has OWL in them. 79 out of 4,966. But the last post was what is coded in your DNA? Who put it there? Why? Mankind is repressed. We will be repressed no more. Information is knowledge. You'll see that over and over when the word knowledge is used. Knowledge is power. Information is power. How do you protect your DNA? There is a war for your DNA. Protect your DNA. Ascension. That's the last we've heard. And you know what? I think we're getting ready to hear from the 17th letter again. Very soon. Think I'm crazy? Well, I might be. I want to put this one up. Whoa, where'd it go? Come on. Here we go. There's the word owl, but it is actually knowledge, acknowledge. This is someone who was posting, and the 17th letter decided to address their statement. I almost hope they don't ask. Don't ask what? Well, the question. That's what I think we're getting set up for. The media is going to have to ask the question. And the question is, who is CUE? Not CUE Anon. Just the letter, and I'll say it one time, Q. Who is that? This person says, I almost hope they don't ask. It would be fun to watch them try to manage the spin when 90% of the country is aware of you, that is CUE, and all that you've been shining a light on, while the MSM can still acknowledge it. I can see them squirming now. This is the response. It must happen. That's why I think this Epstein stuff is bubbling up, why Elon is prodding it forward, why Tucker Carlson, all these other people are starting to talk about it now. It must happen. Conspiracies no more. Think of every post made. It would force us to prove everything stated to avoid looking crazy, correct? What do they fear the most? Public awakening. If they ask, they self-destruct. They know this is real. So they're going to resist asking. This is number 2 to that. They'll self-destruct if they ask. So they'll do everything but go to this board and put the word island in. Or any other keywords. What do they fear the most? Public awakening. If they ask to self-destruct, they know this is real. See attacks. The build is near complete, growing exponentially. You are the frame. You are the support. People will be lost. People will be terrified. People will reject. People will need to be guided. Do not be afraid. We will succeed. Timing is everything. Think Huber. Think DOJ, FBI, reorganization. Don't forget Huber The Fox News post I put up many times talked about Haiti, Clinton Foundation, the Iran deal, crimes against children, okay? Think S3X child arrest news. Think resignation, loss of control. How do you remove evil in power unless you reveal the ultimate truth? It must be compelling to avoid a divide. Political attack optics. We are the majority, growing worldwide. That's what WW stands for. Sheep no more, together. What is something that's unifying? What is compelling enough to avoid a divide? Children. Children. So if I were talking to somebody from the press, I would say, put in the word island and check it out, because there's links you can go to. I should have showed you all some of the links that they had, but here, put in the word owl. Didn't take long to go through 79 posts, even if some of them say knowledge. What is this? Oh, it's an owl. It's an owl. This is back in 2017. Almost 10 years ago, folks. Media keywords, owl. Highlighted in layout of Washington, D.C. Ain't that something? How many people knew that? We know. It's just something to entice, get people to look at, and think a little bit. What is an owl? Let me see here. What do we have here? There, in the blue, is our links that people can click on, and unless it's been taken down, most everything that's blue still connects. Black Lives Matter co-founder tweets about ending the lives of men and white folks. What? Worth remembering. What happens when racists are running a supposed anti-racist organization? Hatred, violence, destruction, red rum, division pushed every election year, 4 years. Why? Political advantage to one party over another. What if this is important, folks, what if the Democrats never let go post-Civil War? And I mean the Civil War that ended in 1865. What if the Democrats never let go? What if they simply implemented a new form of control, ownership? What do they mean by that? Slavery. What if they simply implemented a new form of slavery, control, ownership? Knowledge is power. Take ownership of yourself, your life. Well, I can tell you what they did, what they implemented. If you watch the film Gone with the Wind, they instituted a very strict property tax where they could seize your land if you didn't pay it in a decimated, as Margaret Mitchell called it, civilization. And made it, instead of a incidental tax, a confiscatory tax, so that you never truly own anything. And the second thing they did was they instituted, 60-some years later, a personal income tax, which could go up to 100% of your earnings, no cap. in the Constitution, speciously placed in the Constitution through a so-called amendment. When Kennedy was elected, the tax rate was 90% in some cases. Is that not slavery? Is that not loss of control of yourself and your life? The Democrats never let go after the Civil War. They just connived on a new system to take away your liberty and the fruits of your labor. Welcome to Epstein Island. Ask yourself, is this normal? What does a temple typically symbolize? What does an owl symbolize? Dark religion? Tunnels underneath? How many channels captured on Ray Chandler's pic? Rooms indicate size. Hallways shown, class 1 through 99. Symbolism will be their downfall. These people are evil. And I want to point out, it may be one of these posts, but they say they need symbolism. They need it. And what have I talked about in the past? The occult. Okay, we don't need symbolism. And we're forbidden from engaging in supernatural and occult. That's why. Because it takes control of your life. Takes control of your sense of reason. And anything that does that is evil. Let me see what this one is. See, there's some blue links there. Mold Twitter, real Donald Trump. The President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, agreed that an illegal coup was attempted against him. What are we talking about right now? What did I just read? This was back in February 2019. Where in 2026, Trump is posting what Greg Jarrett said, a conspiracy. And back 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago, the President of the United States agreed that an illegal coup was attempted against him. Stop and understand the gravity and acknowledgement. The gravity of Trump verbalizing it. Do you believe nothing will happen? Do you believe no one will be prosecuted? POTUS making statements for no reason? How do you introduce the truth to those still asleep? D-class coming? The message must be direct. Bypass the non-reporting of the truth. Facts by fake spin narrative news. Force it out in the courts at some point? I don't know. But they just told us. Trump didn't say that for nothing. And now we're right back to that topic. What else? Get ready for this. October 8th, 2018. 8 years ago, almost. We're in 2026 now, folks. U.S. taxpayers paying for it all. What did Trump announce yesterday he's shutting down? U.S. aid. Got it all through the courts. They can't stop him. He's shutting down U.S. aid. We know they've been using it as a slush fund. Paris Accord equals scam, trillions. Red Cross equals scam, billions. Foreign aid equals scam, trillions. War equals scam, trillions, and on and on. What did Trump end? Wars. What's he ended with U.S. aid and slush funds? Trillions and trillions. Paris Accord, all of it over with. Here we were told 7 years ago. Who audits where the money actually goes? We know nobody does. Who actually receives the money? We know now, without a doubt, NGOs, crooked politicians. We know that now. And the rest of America knows now. The taxpayer is funding the very people we are engaged in taking down. Slush funds everywhere. Think George Soros pays for Antifa out of his own pocket? The hole is deep. Feel sick yet? We knew this stuff. But look how many people are just finding out. But of course, Anons already knew this. Knowledge is power. And there you can go to Tom Fitton's Twitter. For people that need confirmation. Reporters, maybe? Do we have any reporters out there that could put the word island in? Island? Just one word. Here we go, March 20th, 2019. Epstein Island dungeon. Beneath the temple. S3X and torture rooms. Openly flaunt across social media. Untouchable. They were pointing out, see how they behave when they think they're untouchable? They're careless. They put in, on social media, interior pictures of their security cameras. And they make little Snapchat chit-chats about it. What else did they put out? This is from 2018, folks. 8 years ago. Saudi Arabia, access closed. Epstein Island, access closed. Haiti, access closed. North Korea, access closed. China, access closed. Russia, access closed. Cuba, access closed. Oh, wait a minute. Sudan, access pending. Government. Saudi Arabia, U.S. push. Wait a minute. Who did Trump meet with yesterday? What continent did he stop a war that's been going on for 30 years? He met with African nations yesterday for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So Sudan, access is closing, if not closed already. Syria, access pending. Wait a minute. That's closed now, right, folks? Yemen, access pending. Government, Saudi Arabia, U.S. push. Yemen is where the Houthis are. That's going to be the last one. If they're not all closed, they're all closed but Yemen. Syria's closed now. Sudan's closed now. And if Yemen isn't closed, it's going to be very, very soon. So I got a list I've showed you all before that popped up. During my searches, just those two words, owl and island, get screenshots of this as I move it along. Have any of these people supported Trump? This was posted without comment. I see Alan Dershowitz's name. Alec Baldwin. So is this a list of people who have been to the island? That doesn't mean it's a client list. I said they were more, if they weren't innocent visitors that could be set up, like Dershowitz is claiming, and like Victor David Hansen is pointing out, and Bill O'Reilly. You know, people that get pictures, excuse me, pictures taken, and 10 years down the road, somebody tries to bribe them. And I mean just a regular picture, like Trump got stuck with E. Jean Carroll on a celebrity line. But other ones could be cult members. I said, no, they're not clients. They're members, remember? Of their church or their cult or whatever they want to call it. Or, as Ghislaine Maxwell said, she was a citizen of, what was the name she claimed in court? Some kind of aqua terra firma or a nation like nobody ever heard of that they claim. So you see Anderson Cooper's name. You see all kinds of people here. Ben Affleck, Bill Clinton, Bill Murray, Ben Affleck. Oh, there's Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, he's been there. I don't know what this list is. Kevin Spacey. Here, let me move it up so you can get a shot of the rest of it. Let me see. Meryl Streep. Oprah Winfrey. So, yeah, I believe there are people that were meant to be extorted in the future that were brought down there, like what Dershowitz was talking about. I'm down there, I get a back rub from a 60-year-old German lady, and could they set him up down the road like they did with E. Jean Carroll and Trump? Who are some of the other? Robert Downey Jr., Sandy Berger, remember him? He was with the Clinton administration. He's the one who stole stuff out of the National Archives. Seth Green. Every person on here, with the exception of Dershowitz, can't stand Trump. And even Dershowitz, I don't believe he'd vote for Trump over a regular Democrat. But everybody else on here definitely is against Trump. Everyone. Unless I'm missing somebody. Will Smith, Woody Allen, Wanda Sykes, Tom Hanks, Steven Tyler. Do you see anybody that supported Trump? But you're talking about multimillionaires, big stars. Some of them could be citizens of that weirdo nation Ghislaine Maxwell claims she's a part of, or members of a cult, and others could be, oh my goodness, Ehud Barak, the guy who was before Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. Ehud Barak. Demi Moore. So anyway, my point is that if people want to be real journalists, what's it hurt to look at the links, read the articles, open source? I'm just seeing if, well, what, I haven't checked the chats in a while. Oh, by the way, this is a viewer-supported channel only. I have a link for Buy Me a Coffee in the description. I've gone this whole way and haven't mentioned it one time. That's probably why I'm doing so well here. I want to thank Mike and Bev for helping out in the this week and keeping me from getting skunked. And Gary did give me a big boom at the end of last week. I appreciate that. But anyway, I have a link in my Rumble description. And if you're watching on Rumble, make sure you hit the follow button. I noticed I got some new subscribers there on Rumble. Justin, you're putting words in that are against the trust and safety of YouTube. Please take it down. You didn't put a 0 for an O, a 4 for an A, or nothing. You know, normally I blow a cork over stuff like that, but I'm thinking of what's the word I've been using? Sabbatical. Remember that word, folks. Maybe sharpen my pencil since anyway. Here's a little advice from the I think she's the assistant director of the NEA. Yeah, that's what's teaching your kids, your grandkids, or whatever. Anyway, folks, I have got a message. You know this Zohan Morabi or whatever his name is? He has got a intern, an assistant, and she has got a message for the people of New York. There she is right next to Zoran. So anyway, I'm sure you all want to hear the message too. And I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me. I should be going live tomorrow night if everything goes okay. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play this video. And we should be getting together tomorrow. So you all have a great night. Enjoy the video. This is Mountain Man. Over and out.